Tell him it's on.
Tell her what's up. Tell her it's on. Nigga better turn me up. 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 Let's go. I tell my shit that we lit.
What's up guys, Z-Shot here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're returning, what's up? And if you're new, thanks for tuning in. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like my content. So we're almost at 3,000 subscribers, guys. It's pretty insane. I didn't expect to get 2,000 plus subscribers within like a month of DBOG coming back, but thank you guys so much for the support because it's been insane. And yeah, so I did not expect this at all. Anyways, as you read by the title, what happens next for DBOG? I've had this idea in my head for a little bit, but basically just like my update review video, I'm gonna break it into sections with my theories and ideas that they could add for the game, and things I think that need to be fixed or tweaked, because there are some things in DBOG that I think are really problematic and need to be talked about. So yeah, so we're gonna break into content, leveling in forms, and PvP. So let's start with content. I think what's probably going to come next, what they're going to do is it's hinted at that they're not going to make like progressing as like how it used to be with like just story quests, and you know, you have your story quests and you have your dailies, and then that's basically it. You get your new form, and once you do that, you kind of maxed and quote unquote beat the game. So I think what they should do is I think that they should make Boo Saga a kind of like a small little update. It doesn't need to be a whole new world. I guess you can say it's a little bit story, but not really. But I think that what they should do is they should basically just make, okay, if they do make a new world, which I highly doubt, make it a very small world where you have your starter quest with how does Boo Saga start again? Okay, you can start with maybe Bobby's minions, maybe do that, just, you know, or they could be some like daily quests. But what you really need to have is, there's only really three things you need to have four. You need to have Majin Vegeta, a boss, obviously. You need to have a Deborah boss. You need to have, obviously, Boo, and have him transform. And the fourth thing, Potara earrings. So once you have Potara, I thought Potara could work a certain way where you get maybe the best stats of each person instead of like the weakest stats. I think that's how it works for Fusion right now. But yeah, I think that's what they should do for Boo Saga. And basically, I think that no one really needs to get forms. It should kind of be like a placeholder update, because right now we have legend forms already, even though they're gotten nerfed to like 3.25 multiplier. But we have enough forms right now until we get to the big stuff, which is what I'm going to talk about next. But so for content, you can have, you know, add Boo, and then add some like mini games, add some things like just like events, things that gives people more incentive to come back and play instead of just coming back to level up and get the new thing, which I guess in this case would be Potara, which would be cool, but again, like, you gotta do some other things to keep it fresh. So that's probably what they're thinking about right now anyways, hopefully. I think Majins should get like that candy move or whatever that they have, where, you know, Boo is able to turn like people into candy or like an egg or whatever, and you can eat it, and then maybe that makes them like stronger or something like that. It's kind of similar to the absorption, but I guess maybe it's better, or it has a way longer, but it has a longer cooldown, probably something similar to that. So that's how I think that could probably work. You could maybe add Majin. I really don't want to say Majin as a game pass, because there's already some things in the game that like are closed off for people that don't, you know, that don't have Robux to pay for it, like Hyperball Time Chamber and Gravity Chamber. What else? Dragon Ball Radar, which is unlimited time, 2 times mastery, etc. That's just to name a few. And speaking of that, I think that what they should do is, from this point on, make it so that way you can go in there for Hyperball Time Chamber for a set amount of Zenny. Because I just don't like how certain things are closed off like that for people. There's already been enough, so just make it people to go in there for 30 minutes or a little less time for a certain amount of Zenny. That way, you know, people aren't getting like screwed over for not having access to Robo. But if they did add Majin, I don't know how it would work exactly, but I really wouldn't want it to be a game pass, just to not have to, you know, keep people closed off from more opportunities to, you know, be stronger, etc. So then we get more into leveling in forms, okay, which is, leveling was kind of a little bit what I talked about with content, but I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth with it. So for leveling, there need to be more ways to level, and that's why I was talking about mini games, things like that. Maybe things to give more Zenny. Because Zenny right now is so bad. I don't understand why the Zenny game is so trash, but then, you know, you have limited items like the Boris Sword, which is like 500,000 Zenny or something like that. No, it's more than that, but... And then just now, what is it, like Dio's clothes from JoJo got added, and in the Discord that says something about Naruto's clothes getting added, which you already know that's going to be like 1,000,000 Zenny. Like, I've been doing ranked for a while. I have, what, like 300 wins now? Or maybe, no, 200 plus wins. And, you know, you get like 2 times Zenny, I think, for a certain amount of wins, but like even then, it's not that much. And I guess you could say, okay, just do the Dragon Balls every week, the Earth Dragon Balls, and wish to be richer. But even then, 100,000 Zenny every week isn't that much. So, you know, and no one wants to do the Earth Quest over and over again every single day to just get like, I don't know how much Earth Quests give, but they give a decent amount of Zenny if you do them every day. But like I said, no one wants to do that. So that's leveling right there. There needs to be more ways to level. Now for forms, this is the big one. Right now, we don't know exactly how they're going to play it out. Like I said, if they go to Boo Saga, there shouldn't be any real forms. And if there are, it should maybe be something for like humans, because they've gotten screwed over. Okay, they've gotten completely screwed over. Or half Saiyans. So if you did do something, maybe have half Saiyans finally get their legend quests with Mystic. Now for forms in general, if they do GT, which I honestly don't think they're going to do, because I remember them saying that GT is going to be towards the end of the lifeline of the game, like the last thing that they add, or one of the last things. If they do GT, obviously Super Saiyan 4, you have forms for Tuffle. I didn't watch GT, so if they do GT, you know, obviously have your Super Saiyan 4 route. And from that point on, if you were to do GT and then go to Battle of Gods, I don't know. See, some people have said that you could do like a variant where, like, if you go to Super Saiyan 4, you can't get God form, and if you go to God, you can't get Super Saiyan 4. I don't really know. I just feel like Saiyans, I mean, we're kind of privileged because we have a lot of forms. But regardless, that's what I would do for GT. Just give, you know, Saiyans obviously Super Saiyan 4, and do content for like an alternate world where you have content for Super Saiyan or GT, which I think would be really cool. If you do Battle of Gods, again, this is another thing that could be like a mini update. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. Obviously, you are gonna have Super Saiyan God, and you have Beerus. You can really take a lot of inspiration from Final Stand. Okay, add Beerus's planet into space. That's what you could do. Have Beerus at a very suppressed state. And once you get Super Saiyan, this is just a general like consensus for all races, but I'm just using Saiyans because it's really easy to like make it sound more understandable. But for Saiyan specifically, what you should do, and half Saiyans too, you should make it so if you get Super Saiyan God, you can maybe have an option to do the ritual that get, I think, what, 6 Saiyans in total, or 5 other Saiyans, and still their power into 1 Saiyan to get God, which I think would be really cool because, I don't know, get that sense of community with people, and like, okay, help me get God. So everyone that has Super Saiyan, come around, circle around me, you know, hold hands or whatever, and give me your power, and then boom, God. So I think that'd be really, really cool. And I know they could do the detail to do it because they were able to make a beautiful animation for fusion, and they're also able to make the input system for fusion where if you mess up, you have your fat form. So they could definitely do that. And forms in general, at this point in time, forms need to be going completely overhauled. So you can't have forms. I don't want forms to be masterable anymore. I don't want forms with no drain, because forms with no drain to me is just boring. It becomes new base form. After that, it's nothing really interesting about it besides the looks, etc. That's it. It's just the same type of thing. And especially if you're gonna have the forms work the exact same for every single race with a game that's 14 different races. So what you should do is try to make the forms look or have things that are more unique about them. It doesn't have to be extremely unique aesthetically, because again, it's hard with 14 different races to make good looking forms. But even so, they shouldn't be masterable, and the gap of power from level 400 forms to God forms, or you know, whatever you want to call it, should be very significant. Because when you're doing all this grinding, especially in space, and NPCs are basically on you, and you know, they're just beating you up, and then all to just get a form that's like 0.5 times stronger, you don't feel that much of a difference. And I know they've said that they did this for balancing or whatever, but I really don't want to get that, because you could easily just make the NPCs stronger, but still make you stronger, so you feel like it was worth it. So if you go back to like the NPCs from the previous world, like for example, if you got Super Saiyan God, then you went back to space, or if you went back to future, you're clapping the NPCs like it's light work. It's a breeze. I remember in Final Stand when I finally got Super Saiyan God, and the gap from God to Super Saiyan 3 was very significant. So space was almost a little bit easy. At least it felt easier. So that's what they should do for forms in general. Mastery, if you're gonna do it, just make it so that way the drain is significantly less. But there should never be a point where you're in the form 24/7, because even Goku and Vegeta, again, I'm using them as placeholders for every other race, but even Goku and Vegeta, peak level Saiyans, cannot stay in Super Saiyan Blue forever. So, and they better not do that in the manga. I swear if they do some bull like that, I'm gonna be annoyed. But so yeah, that's how forms should work. They should be much more powerful, and I feel like there needs to be more respect on them as a form themselves. My second idea for forms, this might be a little complicated, but make it so that way you can have a certain amount of movesets that are different per form. Not completely, because it'd be really annoying if you're in a fight and then you have a person that has a certain move and then they transform to a different form and then they do a completely different move that you couldn't expect, like a rush. But maybe make it so like you can have different ultimates for forms, like or you can have a different counter for forms, things like that, so it feels different from the other one. I also think it'd be cool if you could kind of de-transform from like a higher form to a lower form, similar to how, you know, Goku in the Tournament Power went from God to Blue, and then from Blue back to God when he's fighting Dispo. That way he wouldn't use as much energy. And that would also implicate strategy into forms, because you actually have to be smart and use them. Because if your stamina for the form is lower and it's not mastered, then if you go down to a form that has less drain, your transformation bar might be a little higher or it drains less. So I don't know, maybe you can make the form bar shared or not, but yeah, so I don't know if that makes sense. But basically what I'm saying is, if I'm in Blue and my form bar is draining and then I go back to God, maybe you could either have it so the transformation bar is shared, so it's still at that same drain rate, like let's say it's at like half, or you can make it different so that way the drain bar is like full, you know, because going down from a transformation should be easier than it is to go up to a transformation. I believe it should be, right? Yeah, especially if you're going from like a Blue to like Super Saiyan like 2 or something like that, you know. But now I'm going to really quickly talk about PvP. Right now, PvP is a lot of cheese. You have a lot of runners. You have a lot of people that are spamming power-ups and for their lack of skill. I understand. It's like, you know, it's a power-up. You know, do what you got to do. It's whatever. You're trying to get the win. But at the same time, you shouldn't be relying on it. Because if you guys watch my Disrespectful Finishers 2, the last demon I fought, that was really annoying. And I had to really grind to get that guy, because all he was doing was just spamming evasives, running, take a couple rush, throw out like a key move with a high area damage when I'm not expecting it, and then, you know, just spam the knockback and then get me to lower health and then power up again. It's like, bro, I don't want to fight like that. I don't want to fight another person that just runs with the moment their defense bar gets drained. I don't want to fight someone that's going to use sensu beans, which is really insane to me that this still is not patched. I don't understand why people can still use items in ranked or tournaments. The maps themselves need to be expanded upon. Some of them are too small, and the walls are very annoying when you're in PvP, because in a game like DBOG, 1 second could literally be the determination of you dying or living. Especially if you get glitch or caught in a wall, or like some people I've heard who've literally gotten like glitch underneath the World Martial Arts Tournament map. So yeah, PvP needs to be tweaked a little bit. And I think NPCs for me aren't all that bad, but a lot of comments have said that the game is not that user friendly, which I can kind of agree to an extent. Although I will say, tutorial literally used to be way harder than it is now, and the moment you jump into the game, it literally gives you the directions and the move list and all the things you really need. But yeah, there's more to it than just that, but that's kind of how it works. Alright, I'm at 15 minutes. I'm not trying to make this video mad long, but yeah, that's all I really got for this video. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and if you're new, go and check out my other content. That's all I got for this video. Peace.